Hello and welcome to Royston Reel. The idea of Royston Reel is to interview local community champions, business people, generally people of interest, to get the inside track on how they think and what makes them tick. Our first interview is with our Mayor, Rob Inwood, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for coming in. We see Rob walking around the town with his mayoral regalia on, giving everybody else a chance to talk. So today I want to have a chance to talk to you about, what's Rob all about and where does all this politics come from, Rob? Where does it all start?
I started on my first march, which was a C&D march at the age of 14. And I went with a very close friend of mine, Robin King, who I went up on the train, got me involved in politics. And at that point I thought, it's in my blood. I think you're either born to love politics or you're not.
I think we spoke the other day and you said about your parents were...
Yeah, my mum was a very strong, very strong-minded woman, which is absolutely fantastic. She wouldn't let, you get away with anything. My dad wasn't so much in politics. He sort of left politics with disillusion within the trade union sort of side. But I think in the 70s it was all very much different to what it is now.
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
And so, I had a very strong mother, which really, she's, lucky enough I still got her. She's 91 and she's still as strong as ever.
How does she react to you being the mayor of
She often criticises anything that goes wrong in Royston and blames me, but she's actually very supportive. She's come with me on many a function. So it's been, she's been really proud of me.
Well, that's good. That's good. Let me drag you back a bit. Yeah. So where did life start for you?
Well, I come originally from Dagenham, and probably my first childhood memory was actually scraping the ice off a window in Dagenham, where I come from. Used to get so cold in the house, but inside used to be able to scrape the ice off the window. And but we had such a great loving family. We was a real family unit. Yeah. And so then we came to Royston. My dad used to work at Dagenham Motors. They part of what they called the London Overspill. And so my parents chose Royston to come. My dad was able to get a job at Fairview Houses, working as a chippy at that time. So he was building some of the houses that are now, lived in, but have been going, for many years now at Fairview. And so I was one of the first students to go to Roman Way School when it was first built. And so I went through all my schooling at Royston. So it was Roman Way, Roysia, and then it was Meridian, which is now King James Academy. And so that's my early days, and then I started off in politics 14, left school 16, got an apprenticeship as a butcher, a local butcher, Marsham's, was there nearly 13 years, loved the job.
So what are you doing now?
Now I work as a teacher's assistant at a special school. It's Aurora at Mildred Manor, and I work with kids with autism and PMLD, which is disabled. So it's something like many jobs. It's a low paid job, but I absolutely love it. I absolutely love the job, and I think it's a valuable job for society.
So you originally started your life in politics with if I'm right in saying, the Labour Party was your...
I had a wonderful lady called Margaret Thatcher, who actually introduced me to politics. I personally didn't agree with some of her views. A lot of people did. But what she did do was make me read books, made me understand politics. And she's the main reason why I actually got involved in politics. If we didn't have Margaret Thatcher, you wouldn't have Rob Inwood, Mayor of Royston. And so you could look at it as though she created me.
Oh God, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. But
so literally it was the fact that the way she treated people, but then you had certain people that done well out of it, bought their council house, then was able to save money and sell the councils and move on.
Mm.
Yeah, I still believe that every house that was sold, another one should have been built, but yeah, that's a different story. We can talk about that all day.
Yeah, exactly right.
And,
yeah, exactly right.
She is the reason why I got involved.
But you didn't go with the Tories, you went with
No.
Labour.
Because I didn't really agree with a lot of her views.
Yeah.
But if it weren't for Margaret Thatcher,
Mm.
yeah, like I said, you wouldn't have Rob Mayor.
So when did you decide to stand?
And that was many years ago. When I first joined the Labour Party, we stood for town. Yeah, and in Royston, I can't remember the amount of votes I got, but it wasn't very many, put it that way. But never gave up. You know, I've been a hard campaigner. You know, I've always believed in morals, and if you're telling people at the doorstep, then you should follow through what you've promised.
Mm.
And you know, I've been very much disillusioned by a lot of the parties.
Yeah. So you decided then to stand in Royston
Yeah.
under Labour banner.
Yeah.
You got the ticket. And what the interesting thing is, what I always think about local politics, so few come out and actually
Yeah.
do the voting. And that's probably, well, I mean, I've got my opinions and
Yeah.
it's not about me, but why do you think that is?
I think it's just a national thing. When people disagree with your views, then you ask them, "Oh,
What
how
do
did you
you
vote?" And they say, "Oh no, I don't vote at all."
Yeah.
It goes, yeah. And
Yeah.
so, I think it is important for people to vote.
Yeah, yeah.
I would rather lose to a high percentage of voters than I would rather win than if you only had 2 people vote.
Showed up, yeah.
Yeah, we live in a democracy. I think it's one of the best ways to change. So I think it's important that we do go out and vote. My mum's never missed a vote
Is she not?
in her life
Yeah, yeah.
because she sort of feels she had. Her mother was a suffragette, and so we've had that issue with us. She fought for the vote. Women got the vote, and I would like to see the vote brought down to 16 years old.
Mm.
Because I think once you start paying taxes, you can join the army at 16. So you can do a lot of things at 16, apart from vote. You can get married at 16.
I'm a 62-year-old.
Yeah.
Been around, very cynical.
Yeah.
I don't see government or politics working. National. What would you say to me that would make me go
I
out?
think there's a great example in national politics. It's all about negativity, and we're seeing it more and more attack the other party. Don't tell them what you believe in, attack them.
Mm.
And I think that what's happening, people are getting turned off of national politics. And I think local politics, localism, or whatever you want to call it, I think that's the way forward. Because I think if I promise you, John,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a flower bed
Yeah.
in the high street,
Yeah.
and it doesn't happen,
Yeah.
you will see me uptown and go, "Rob, where's my flower bed?"
Yeah.
With politicians, national politicians, quite often, yeah, when do you come to see them? I think our wage system needs to change. No, I'm not criticising anyone for doing well in business. I think we need
You need entrepreneurs.
entrepreneurs, and I think that is one thing that Britain are great at.
Mm.
And we need managers.
Mm.
Yeah, we need that manufacturing, we need
Yeah.
that business, you know, but we also need a decent, and by giving people a living wage or a decent wage, so you would stop that benefit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I think that the only people that would suffer is the top man that owns the company, and he might not be able to buy his island this year, or his jumbo jet. But what he's doing is he's giving his workers
Yeah.
money to then
Yeah.
spend in
I
local.
think
And this is
you're
where
right.
I'm coming back to your local
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if that person has more money in his pocket, the average person that's earning, say, at the moment, minimum wage, they are struggling. They will not spend, they will look for online shopping for the cheapest deal. They will shop around for the cheapest deal, which is sensible. But sometimes if you give a person more money, they will then spend it in their local environment.
So what I'm taking from you,
Yeah.
what you just said, is that that the trust for politicians
It's gone.
starts here.
Yeah.
Starts on the ground.
Yeah, I think.
You've got to, you need to be like, Caesar's wife beyond reproach.
Yeah.
But you're out there doing it, and that instills a certain amount of trust. You're now in Royston, not as a party, not as a
No.
Tory or a Labour or whatever it may be. You're now looking at this independent.
Yeah.
So if which I want you to tell me more about.
Yeah. If we can get this town growing, we can get the small businesses that I think are our backbone to the British society. Without the small businesses, turn the lights off.
Yeah.
Small businesses are our backbone. Now, if those small businesses can grow, what's better? And this is what I'm trying to achieve in Royston. I want to see Royston the most vibrant town in the country. I don't care if you're on the right, the left, the centre. If you've got Royston at heart, let's talk. What I'm working on now, as a group, I must admit, it's not going to be Rob independent. I'm not a maverick. I would, I suppose so. I would rather stay under that radar. But I think what's been important, and I had to make a statement within the town. I've been totally disillusioned with national politics. From the, going back, I was I left the Labour Party during the Iraqi War. Didn't agree with it at all. So I joined the Liberal Democrats. I signed the guarantee that if the Liberal Democrats got in coalition with the Conservative, that we would put 0 tuition fees. I signed a pledge for it. And then when they got in coalition, they went from 3,000 to 9,000. And I took 6 months in the wilderness, disillusioned, rejoined the Labour Party. But then the last general election, I think the negativity, I've never seen a general election with so much negativity. And I was just horrified that we need to, and so then again I took a bit of a sit down. I've got an older boy, 19 now. He's looking at going into politics. I'm trying to tell him not to, but he's looking at going into politics. And he sat with me, and he just said, "Why don't national governments care about what's happening in Royston?" And it took me back, literally, that he was 18 at that time. And I said, "Well, yeah, what do you mean?" And he goes, "When has any person said, for our Royston or local towns, we're going to invest to regenerate them?" He goes, "Because you've told," and I was chatting now, and I've told him stories when I used to work on the market. At 13, I used to work on the market. So I used to have 2 stalls because there weren't enough young kids for the stalls that was at the Royston market. And he goes, "Why ain't Royston like that now?" And to try and explain to him, we're changing, Royston change. I'm not a revolutionary. And I don't, hopefully you won't come across that. But what I am is someone that wants evolution for Royston. If I can make one of them shops into another business throughout my whole career that stays there and protects all the other shops, then I feel as though I've done my job.
Yeah. So you're doing this independent thing.
Yeah.
And you was explaining to me about some ideas that you've got.
Yeah.
Do you want to fill us in about those ideas?
Yeah, basically what we're going to be doing, we're going to be speaking to the people of Royston. As a group, I'm getting new people all the time contacting me. We've got a core group now that's definitely, we're working on a manifesto that's going to be geared up for Royston. We're going to let people know as well in advance before the election. It's going to be a Royston manifesto.
Yeah.
And what we are going to do, we're going to put a draft thing together, but then we're going to be out in the streets asking you,
Yeah.
what do you want to see?
Yeah.
And part of our discussion we've been having as a group is that we will promise people more open meetings, so there'll be more public meetings, but also we're going to be promising people within 100 days, if we did lucky enough to take power, we will have an open public meeting to see where we're going.
I think transparency.
Yeah, I think that is
the
the
word
answer.
for 2021. Actually.
Oh, it's got to be.
Yeah.
Far too long, we've seen governments promise this, promise that, and some people might say deliver. Now, I'm not telling people not to vote. You know, if they're disillusioned with national politics, I want to see people vote.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm saying to people, if you feel that that national party that you vote for have done a good job for Royston, please vote for them.
Yeah.
You know, if you feel as though that party,
Yeah.
you read their manifesto,
Yeah.
and you believe that that's what they will achieve for Royston,
Yeah.
then go and vote for them.
Yeah.
But if you want to see a group of people, that's going to be Royston people,
Yeah.
you're going to be coming from mixed backgrounds,
Yeah.
because we want to hear it's going to be a people's party. And then those people that we've worked with, because it's a local party, will be seeing us in the high street. You know, there's 15 town council seats up for grabs
Oh, there.
in 2022. Now, hopefully, everybody watching this can name every single councillor. But that is what should happen.
Yeah. Should.
You should be able to read. No, you should be able to know every town council we've
Yeah. I
got.
agree. Yeah. Okay.
You know, if they don't, yeah, what's gone wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what has gone wrong.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know, I sometimes, like most people, know our MP Oliver Hill,
Yeah.
but then it's like European elections. Yeah.
I'm struggling.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying, is that we need a town where everybody can then reel off, I know him, I know her.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they see us uptown, they say, "Oi, Rob,
Yeah.
you promised that hanging basket again."
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going
yeah,
back to that. It's
yeah.
something, you promised that hanging basket.
Yeah. Got it.
Why not got it?
Yeah.
You said,
Yeah.
and I think that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so the people then feel part of
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the only way you're going to get people engaging. And then that comes back to the whole voting system.
Yeah.
Those
Exactly,
people
yeah.
then will feel part of that system and say, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a really good way to do it.
If you get people involved at a younger level and you don't disillusion them,
Yeah.
they're probably with it all the time. They stay with it all the time.
Part of our youth council is what we're guaranteed is finance.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, you know, I was lucky enough, me and my boy, we went around looking at different councils, and what we've realised is that a youth council can be great, can be a great talking shop, but if they don't never achieve nothing,
What
it
they doing
soon,
for?
it soon fails.
Yeah.
The working party was set up, and it was great because it was a cross-party working party,
Yeah.
so it was great that we all got together, and literally it was that we give them finance.
You've got to give them some legs to run
Yeah.
with, haven't you?
And it was important to get people like Connor and a guy, Jack Logan. He actually worked for an MP actually, so he had some. Yeah, it was Oliver Hill,
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah.
He does some work with him.
Yeah.
And so it was that cross party. You
Yeah.
can see that we've had people from the left, right, centre working on that youth council, and we've got and achieved a great result because we had people
Yeah.
working together,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
fighting.
Something. Yeah. Exactly.
And
exactly.
we realised that by giving them finance and help, they could then achieve
Yeah.
something that they can proudly say this was done by the youth council.
Yeah.
And the long-term plan will be up to them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell the youth council what to do. Yeah, I will not say to them, look, really, because then I will be just as bad as the national parties.
Yeah.
You know, democracy, I love democracy.
True democracy.
Democracy,
Yeah.
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 I love that people decide what's happening.
Yeah,
If it
yeah.
means that we get a hold of 15 great people that I think are going to be better councillors than myself, I'll be quite happy to step aside. because I will believe it's the best for Royston for me to do that. All I care about is Royston.
Yeah.
Now, people might say, "Oh, that's very narrow-minded." Really, now after the last general election, don't really care about what goes on in the Westminster bubble.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What I care about is
Royston.
Yeah, Royston. Why are people not happy? I would love to say, Royston, I live in the best town in England.
Mm.
I think I live in a great town anyway.
Yeah.
We've got a great football team that I've got a season ticket with, and the Crows are great, and I'm passionate about football. But my boy, youngest one, used to play for the Royston rugby team.
Right.
So there's always been that sporting connection.
I've got one final question.
Yeah, go on.
What would you tell your 16-year-old self, looking back now, if you could do that?
Probably have tried harder at school.
Okay.
Basically, I think I don't think the young kids realise just how important that is. I think I was passionate about football, and I thought, like many young kids, I was going to be a professional footballer. Never happened. I'm never good enough. But I love football, and I think that at that age, certainly, and also be yourself. I think we'll get into society where people need to be themselves.
Yeah.
We need people just to look at themselves, not to be scared to be themselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's breaking them barriers.
Yeah.
So I think that would probably my 16-year-old self would be
try a bit harder at school.
Yeah, try me harder and be yourself.
Be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I think that's all what you can do in life.
Yeah, that's excellent. Rob, I want to thank you for coming in.
That's great. Yeah.
You've set the bar.
Oh, no.
You've set you set the bar, and I hope all your dreams will come true.
No, thanks for your time for
That's been great,
letting me air my views.
Well, listen, for the benefit of COVID,
there we go.
we're COVID-friendly place. So, Rob, thanks, mate,
No,
and we'll no doubt we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, that's great. Thank
Cheers.
you. Great. Thank you very much.